There's an old saying that goes, you can go weeks without food, you can go days without water, but you can only go minutes without air. Breathing is God designed to be one of the most, if not the most vital aspect of our health. Breathing impacts our energy levels, it impacts our digestion, it impacts our stress management and our nervous system health, and so much more. However, most people don't breathe properly. So, what is proper breathing and what is improper breathing? What I've noticed over the years is that most people actually breathe using their chest and using their shoulders. Something like this. And most people actually breathe through their mouth. The correct method to breathe is not using your chest, it's not using your shoulders, it's actually using your belly, diaphragmatic breathing. So when you breathe in, your belly should expand, and when you breathe out, your belly should contract. It's almost like you're taking that air down into your belly. So diaphragmatic breathing is so important because it pulls air actually down to the bottom of our lungs where the richest blood supply is. That's where most of the nutrient and oxygen exchange happens, is down at the bottom of the lungs. When you breathe with your chest, that air doesn't make it down nearly as far. And so it really limits the amount of oxygen that you're going to get from breathing. So it causes you to want to breathe more, hyperventilate, so to speak. Babies are a great example of proper breathing. When you watch a baby sleep, their bellies go up and their bellies go down. Mostly their chest stays almost perfectly still while they're asleep. This is a sign of a healthy and well-functioning nervous system. Whenever that same baby is stressed out, how does their breathing look? Does it still look like their belly is moving in and out, or does it look more like their breathing actually shifts to their chest and through their mouth? And so whenever our bodies are breathing through the chest and breathing through our mouth, it actually is activating our stress response. And so that's not what we want. That's not what we want when we want to have energy, when we want to heal, when we want to be able to sleep, when we want to be able to digest properly. So diaphragmatic breathing is so important. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest function of our nervous system. The next factor is breathing through the nose. And breathing through your nose might be one of the most important factors of health that no one talks about. Most of us in this country actually breathe through our mouth. We're mouth breathers. And mouth breathing actually happens when your body is under stress, or if you have an airway issue, if there's some obstruction that prevents you from being able to breathe well through your nose. But breathing through your nose is really important. When you breathe through your nose, it actually filters the air, it warms or cools the air, it charges that air for energy production, and it also creates a spin. It makes it easier for your lungs to get that oxygen and for you to make energy out of the oxygen that you're breathing. When you're breathing through your mouth, it's almost like breathing through the tailpipe or the exhaust pipe on your car. You're skipping out on a lot of those beneficial systems in the nasal cavity, and you're actually stressing out your nervous system. So if nasal breathing is actually really difficult for you for whatever reason, maybe you've had an injury, maybe you've got a deformity, I would recommend that you get that dealt with as soon as possible. Breathing through your mouth actually destroys your nervous system, and that sounds like a very dramatic thing to say, but it's absolutely true. And there's research to back that up, including experiments where people had their nasal cavities surgically closed for a small period of time. And the impact on their health was astounding after only maybe 10 days or a week or something like that. So there's so many different options out there to improve your ability to breathe through your nose. Lots of different conservative options, which I would always recommend before you try anything dramatic like surgery. But sometimes surgery might be necessary to open those airways to improve your ability to nasal breathe. Now, another obstruction from breathing through your nose might be chronic congestion. And so this could be caused by anything from, breathing in mold, or from having parasites, or it could be caused from food sensitivities, or it could be caused from allergies or things like that. So I think it's a really important idea to improve the air quality at your home and at your work where you spend most time. Make sure that you're avoiding toxins like toxic chemicals or candles or scent producing things in your home. Make sure that you have good ventilation, open windows whenever you're able, and keep your home clean and clear of dust as much as possible. So, what are some signs that you might be breathing through your mouth? Well, waking up with a dry mouth or waking up with chapped and dry lips, that's a sign that you are mouth breathing at night. Snoring or sleep apnea, those are also signs that you're breathing through your mouth. When you're breathing through your mouth, it can actually dramatically impact your energy levels. It can impact your sleep quality. You could have really poor quality of sleep. It can impact your digestion and your gut health. It can throw off the microbiome, the types of bacteria and the amount of bacteria in your gut. So, what are some benefits of breathing through your nose and also breathing using your diaphragm? Well, breathing using your diaphragm and breathing through your nose actually stimulates the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve calms down your nervous system. The vagus nerve reduces inflammation. And the vagus nerve supports healing, low blood pressure, lowering your blood pressure, improving your immune function, and much, much more. So, timing matters. So when it comes to eating, this is such an important factor for digestion. If you're out of breath, if you've had to rush or walk across a parking lot, or if you've had to walk up a flight of stairs, maybe right before you're going to sit down to eat or something like that, and you're breathing heavy, your heart rate's elevated, it's not a great idea to just go ahead and start eating. All of that blood supply has shifted away from your organs, away from your digestive tract, and it's now in your arms and in your legs. And so a great way to help bring that blood back to the midline, back to the trunk, to prime your body for digesting the food that you're eating is actually doing a very simple breathing exercise, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. When you're out of breath and you're breathing through your mouth, you're actually eating in stress mode. And so you're more likely to have poor digestion, and actually you're more likely to get inflammation from what you're eating. So there's a simple technique, like I promised, that can really help calm things down and reset your nervous system back to that rest and digest. And it's as simple as 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay? It's called box breathing. And box breathing is simply inhaling through your nose for 4 seconds, holding that in for 4 seconds, exhaling out your nose for 4 seconds, and then holding that out for 4 seconds. So it kind of creates, like a little box. So again, inhaling 4, holding for 4, exhaling 4, holding it out for 4 before you inhale again, and repeating that several times. Maybe you might do it for a minute, maybe you might do it for 2 minutes. You should definitely notice feeling calmer, feeling like your heart rate's slowing. Now, in order to increase the effect, to stimulate the vagus nerve in a more powerful way, what you can do is actually extend that exhale for 6 seconds. So you would do 4-second inhale, hold for 4, and then extend that exhale to 6 seconds. It's actually the exhale, the breathing out, that stimulates the vagus nerve. And make sure you're doing it through your nose. Another great pro tip is making sure that you have really good posture. Standing is preferred, but sitting is fine too. Just make sure that you're sitting up straight. Make sure that your shoulders are back. You're sitting up nice and tall. This will really help give your diaphragm room to go through its full range of motion. If you're hunched over, if you're slouched, then you'll notice that your stomach kind of compresses up against your rib cage, and that restricts your diaphragm. And so you don't get very much motion in your diaphragm when you're sitting slouched. If you notice that you have a hard time breathing properly, your diaphragm doesn't want to seem to fully contract, or maybe it's uncomfortable to take full breaths through your nose, could be a sign that you have restriction. Maybe you've got restriction in your rib cage and in your mid back. Maybe you've got restriction in your abdominal muscles or in your diaphragm area. And so it might be a sign that working with a structural practitioner could be a good idea, like a chiropractor who can help free up your rib cage, improve motion in your thoracic spine, or maybe work out some knots in the upper abdominal area to try to free up your diaphragm a little bit. That could be a good idea. Another way to help you ensure that you're nasal breathing is something called mouth taping. And this may sound strange to some of you, but it's a simple tool and it's so cheap that can encourage nasal breathing. Now, don't just go out and get a roll of duct tape and put it across your mouth. There's specially made tape that is used just for this purpose, for mouth taping. And doing it, especially while you're sleeping, is almost like having a breathing therapy session for 7 to 8 hours during the night while you're sleeping, not even thinking about it. The purpose of mouth tape, you can put it on vertically or you can put it on horizontally, is essentially just a gentle reminder to keep those lips sealed and closed. And when you do that, there's lots of benefits. Just the simple act of mouth taping can actually help clear out your sinuses. It can actually help your body restore nasal breathing. Mouth breathing begets more mouth breathing. And so nasal breathing alone, without the option to breathe through your mouth, will actually help clear that out in some cases. So it could actually help improve sleep quality. It could help improve your energy levels and so much more. Before starting any mouth taping regimen, it sometimes is a good idea to check with a qualified practitioner before you do that. So again, breathing is a free and powerful tool that can help improve almost any health condition that's out there, and it's available to everyone. It's one of those things that's almost too easy. People overlook it so often. I'm going to put a link to a podcast episode where I interview an expert on breath work for deeper learning. And I'll also put a link to a couple of other podcasts talking about air quality indoors and things you could do to improve your indoor air quality. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.